Vivian Speaking more about city life.
关注房子，关注城市，更关注生活。
I will see you every Wednesday night.
国际生活家直播采访秀 Vivian Speaking， 每周3晚7点半，不见不散。
This is Vivian speaking. Thanks for joining us. And tonight it's my honor to have Steve Moody with us, and he's headmaster of International School of Tianjin. And so, welcome, Mr. Moody.
Thank you, Vivian, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, and tonight we have Suri with us, and she's gonna do the Chinese part. And we're gonna start from the who is Mr. Moody. So how about we start from a little video.
IST really it made me.
You know her?
She disappeared very quickly.
I feel like IST really
it. Zhang.
You recognize her?
Yeah, she's a former student. She's at university now.
So you graduate from the IST, and if I ask you to use one word or one sentence to describe your headmaster Moody, so what is going to be?
I would say he is a very approachable and a very familiar headmaster.
Finished? Okay. So she said, and I asked a question, who is Moody? Who is Steve? Because, this is our first time to meet each other, and I talked to her yesterday. Can you use a word or sentence to describe your headmaster? And she said, you are very approach. So how do you think about this?
Well, I'm assuming that she meant that I'm approachable because I'm friendly.
Yes.
I believe that children should feel comfortable going to see teachers, and you shouldn't be scared of the headmaster. Of course, if you're in trouble, then you need to be worried when you get sent to my office. But most of the time, I like children or students to come and see me to celebrate their learning or to celebrate something that they've done in the school that they've been successful at. So a part of our school motto is that IST is a friendly place. So as the headmaster, my number one job is to ensure that we follow our school philosophy and motto. So to be friendly, I think, is to be approachable.
Okay, so let's say what's her explanation?
And why you say him this way?
Because since I was young, I always found him very approachable. He was the headmaster, but at the same time, I felt like he was kind of like a friend of ours. He's kind of like a family member to me and many of my friends who graduated from IST. And he's very familiar because, when my friends found out that he's going to be on this talk show, all of them are very happy for him. And it's like a kind of feeling, it's like, oh, good for him, we're really happy that this is happening to him, we see him on things, good things is happening, that kind of reason, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Steve, you have been in Tianjin for how many years? 22 years?
22 years. I'm just finishing my 22nd year now.
Wow, so that's a long time. So being 22 years in Tianjin, how do you feel the changes of Tianjin?
Oh, the changes are fairly significant, I think. Certainly when we first arrived, Tianjin felt a little bit like, to us at least, my wife and I came from New Zealand, Joe, felt like a bit of a frontier. It was a very, very different environment. You saw very few Westerners. There were very few Western amenities. You couldn't buy coffee or cheese or Western foods.
You cannot find it anywhere.
There were very few cars, just a few M&Ds and lots of bicycles. Not many trees, a bit grey, not many high-rises. I can remember the Gojidasha, one or two others, but mostly the buildings with a 6-story, the standard Chinese housing blocks without elevators. So it's changed a great deal. Now, of course, the city's much more beautiful. It's much greener. If you go down the river now, the Haihe didn't used to be so wonderful. I think now you can walk for 10 kilometres in each direction through beautifully landscaped gardens and waterfronts. And so it's a really lovely place.
Yeah, and Surrey found two very old pictures. It may remind you something.
Yes, I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm not sure what street it is, but I do remember when I first came to Tianjin, everyone used to have a little shop front in front of the building. They would build a little shop out the front out of bricks. And I can remember gradually over time how they made them take those away. A street like Ma Changdao was very narrow, with and a very broken old street, and then they took away those little buildings, little shops, and then the streets, of course, opened up a lot. So quite a big difference.
Yes, sure. Okay, and so how about the Haihe River? Do you love it?
Yes, I love the Haihe River. Actually, I live right on the Haihe, so I look out the Haihe every day from my apartment at Jinmen, next to the St. Regis Hotel.
So in Heping district, right?
Yes.
Okay,
it's
so
at the end
it's
of
a very good
Bingjiangdao,
sense.
straight ahead. It's beautiful. It's a lovely place.
It's beautiful. Why I mentioned Haihe, because I know that you got the Haihe River Friendship Award.
Yes.
That's very, very, very special award for foreigners in Tianjin. And since I know just 276 foreigners got this award, since maybe 2006. So it's a great honor. So how do you feel? Do you excited when you get this last year?
Yes, of course. I was greatly honoured that the Tianjin government would recognise the contribution, my personal contribution to Tianjin. Of course, it's not just me, it's my entire team, all the teachers and staff. Education sometimes isn't held up on a very high pedestal compared to businesses and foreign investment. I know in Asia, and China especially, teachers have a very high level of regard and respect. But we don't necessarily bring a lot of money in. However, the school is necessary to support those foreign enterprises. And I think that's a big part of perhaps my getting the award, because it means a lot for those companies to come to Tianjin.
Yep.
I might have also got it because I've been here so long, and they felt guilty if I didn't get it.
Okay, so how about let's have a little break, and let's bring back to Suri, to the Chinese part.
刚才呢，我们也提到了，就是穆迪先生也谈到了一些他20年来呢在天津的一个经历。他也向我们讲述了就是天津的一些五大道啊，包括一些就是很重点的一些建筑，20年间的一些变化。然后刚才呢，我们还提到了一个海河友谊奖，我们就是现在也可以看一下当时对穆迪先生的一个报道，就是说一段跨越南北半球的缘分。这个呢，就是来谈我们穆迪先生呢，就是他与天津22年间的这么一个故事，也是讲述了他与妻子从南半球的新西兰来到天津，然后包括进入到我们这个天津经济技术开发区国际学校的天津分校进行工作，然后在此呢也是工作了20多年。然后呢，然后我们在这个报道里是描述了咱们这个20多年来的一个工作历程，然后大家感兴趣的可以去搜索一下这个报道。然后这个呢也是穆迪先生呢也是得到了天津经济技术开发区委员会啊，还有一个校理事会，还有一些全校师生家长的一个一致的认可和好评。所以呢，他在去年的时候也是有幸入围了2017年度天津市海河友谊奖呢，然后并成功当选。所以谈到获奖的时候呢，咱们穆迪先生也特别的开心，也是觉得这是他对这些年工作最好的一个认可。然后下面让我们回到今天的节目当中。
Thank you, Suri, and welcome back to our topic. And next, we're going to talk about IB curriculum. So what is IB curriculum? To be honest, I have no idea about it before the interview, but I did a little study about that, and I know not every school qualified for the IB curriculum. And so why the IST want to apply for this IB
program.
Yes, and why we're doing it, and how we can do it, because I know there's still 100 the schools are on the waiting list. They want to pass this qualification. Yeah, so what is that IB first?
Okay, well, I think you hit the nail on the head there at the end in terms of a qualification. IB stands for the International Baccalaureate. A baccalaureate being a qualification. So, for instance, in France, they have the baccalaureate is the equivalent of their gaokao. So it's an international qualification for students to go to university. And when the IB was first started in the 1960s, it was a period of time when globalization was really taking off, and lots of foreigners from various countries were moving around the world to other countries, and their children were going to schools. But when they returned to their home country, they didn't have a qualification.
They need a global
qualification to allow them to enter into universities or even to go back into their own school systems so that local schools would accept that they had actually undertaken a qualification and a course of study that at least paralleled what they did and would have done in their home country. But it's specifically created for internationally mobile students. So students who go from one country to another, maybe go back to their home country or maybe go to multiple countries so they can seamlessly transition from one school to another. Because if you were to go from Australia to Germany to South America, say Brazil, and then across to China, every country has totally different curriculum models and subjects even. And qualification system and credit points that you might earn. So the IB was established, particularly for grade 11, 12, the IB diploma, as a way of enabling students to get a continuous education and to be able to transfer amongst schools and to re-enter into their national system or back into to universities around the world. So it's the world's most widely accepted university entrance qualification. There are many, many countries in the world that will only accept the IB as a university matriculation qualification. So, for instance, a couple of the biggest companies in Tianjin would be Airbus and Volkswagen. Volkswagen being primarily German, Airbus being French and German. If you want to go to a French or a German university, you either have to have a French baccalaureate, a German qualification that they do, called the Abitur, or an IB diploma. And the ministries of education in those countries, and many others like Korea and China, Japan, and over 200 countries around the world, will accept the IB diploma as a high level university entrance qualification. In fact, in many countries, if you've done the IB, you will be given 1 year off university. So an American 4-year degree you will do in 3 years. They give you a full year's credit. It's exceptionally hard. It's extremely difficult. And so in terms of what you said before about being allowed to do it, any school can start up and offer its own curriculum.
Yeah, because I know that maybe the IST is the only one, right? It's the only one. I mean, the foreign schools in Tianjin have this IB qualification, right? Yes. Why you can do that?
Okay. So firstly, we chose it because we wanted to provide a curriculum that met the needs of the broad international community in Tianjin. We're not an American school just for Americans, for students who want to go to American universities. We're not a British school with a British qualification for students who just want to go to the UK. We have students from many different countries. So we wanted a curriculum that worked for everybody and that had international recognition. So that's the reason we chose to do it. Any school can choose to apply to do it, but then you have to go through a rigorous process over several years called authorization and to demonstrate that you have the correct structures in place in terms of the quality of your teaching and your school environment, your policies and practices for the school to meet the IB standards. And then you are regularly audited by the IB. They visit your school to check that you continue to do things well. The IB provides lots of training internationally that your teachers continuously have to go and attend in other countries to ensure that they are aligned with worldwide IB practices.
Okay, I see. So, we must have done lots of works, right, to meet this kind of standard.
It is a lot of work.
What about now? I mean, for the IST, is the curriculum for itself is of course basically based on the IB curriculum. What about your school? Do we have some typical curriculum?
Yes. I think the reality is that 90%, I mean, I don't know the exact percentage, but 90% of what we teach in all schools, whether it be Chinese or IB international schools or British or American schools, is the same. There's an awful lot of common content. And the IB, particularly at the IB diploma level, it's very much a content-driven qualification. But further down through the IB, it's very much based around the philosophy of teaching and learning and how students learn best. So as opposed to a typical curriculum model that you might have traditionally in many countries, still in many places like the UK, the United States, and certainly in Asian countries like China, where they have a very strong focus on content. You have to remember a lot of stuff, and they test content, what's in the textbook, right? And the IB diploma at the very top also has that same focus. But from the primary school years and the preschool and all the way through primary school in particular, it's a focus more on how you learn and developing the right attitudes and the right dispositions to learning. So in our primary school program of the IB, we really focus on teaching children to be confident learners, to ask good questions, then to have the skills to find the answers to their questions and the skills to present the answers. It doesn't have to be the same child, all the children doing exactly the same thing and remembering the most. It's really about developing an attitude. As you go into middle school, you then start to specialize in more content. Then at diploma, of course, it's getting ready for university. So at that level, it's a very academic course in a traditional sense in terms of sitting exams and that type of thing.
Okay. I also learned the IB learner profile. Sorry about the, we cannot put on the screen. There's a 10, right?
Yes.
There's a 10 learner profile. So I remember this thinking, right, and the sort of things. So which one do you think is the most important thing, for the students, as you are the headmaster of the school?
Well, they're all really incredibly important. There are 10 dispositions, and these are ways
Thinker,
of being.
Balanced, principled, risk takers, caring, open-minded, knowledgeable, right? Inquiry,
Yes.
and communicator, and reflective.
Right. So the IB would argue, and we would agree, that these are the 10 dispositions, ways of being and learning and knowing that make a really well-educated person. You have to be knowledgeable. So you have to know some of the facts, the content, right?
Yeah, sure.
You have to be balanced. You have to be good. It's not just about studying. It's about having a balance in your life, about having hobbies and interests, and doing sports and music and lots of different things, right?
Yeah.
These are all very, very important. Knowing how to ask questions, being an inquirer, being caring, caring about other people, being principled, having the right attitudes to ensure that you do the right thing, not being selfish, that type of thing. The one that you mentioned there, it's called risk taker. They've actually renamed it now, and sometimes it's called risk taker, and sometimes it's called being courageous, having courage. I personally believe that courage is the most foundational of the dispositions, because Winston Churchill actually said this, but he said that courage is the most important of all virtues, because it's the one upon which all the others are built. If you don't have the courage to do the right thing, to follow your dreams and to do what's right, then you won't have any of those other things. So I would say that children learning to be courageous and to take risks with things.
So schools always encourage the kids to do, right? To do the things what they, trying, or, do the risky something, but you always encourage them to do it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, look, you can train students to remember a lot of stuff, but knowing a lot of stuff doesn't make you good at being creative and being inventive and coming up with world solutions to worldwide problems. It doesn't make you a great inventor. Okay,
no.
These people are knowledgeable, but they have good ways of thinking outside of the box. Having new ideas, new solutions to world problems and things. So really, in the changing world, this is what employers and companies are looking for. They're not looking for people who can remember lots and lots of facts and figures and dates. They're looking for people who can work together with teams of other people and think about things from different perspectives in a creative way to come up with solutions and solve problems. So that's really the foundation, I think, of what the learner profile is about, and certainly.
Okay, so the risk taken and is a foundation thing, right?
I'd say I prefer the word courageous. IB uses both. I like the word courageous myself. I think that's a foundation.
Sure, yeah. And we previously talked about the IB system, right? And sure, that is a very good education system, but any good education system, can hardly do without a very good teamwork, right?
Yes.
So, so my next question comes up, right? If you think that the risk taken is the good foundation or the good character of the students, so what you need for the team workers? What kind of team workers you?
Okay. So the IB also has some things called attitudes. So being a collaborator, right? So being cooperative, learning to work together with other people and to see things from different perspectives, to understand that, in fact, the IB has a statement, we have it also in our school mission, it says, in spite of our differences, we can both be right. What that means is that you have an idea and I have an idea. It doesn't mean one of us must be right and one must be wrong. Once you can understand that and look at things from other people's perspectives, then it's possible to solve problems. Then it's possible for China and the United States to be friends because they both appreciate that they have different ways and different objectives, but one isn't right and the other one's wrong. And the same might be with any conflict you look at in the world. You could see there are always two sides. And I think one of the great things about the IB program in particular, but lots of other educational programs, but particularly this one, is it really does focus on conceptual understanding and encouraging students to really look at things from multiple perspectives and to consider other points of views. And so you can get graded in points based upon your ability to collaborate with others. How well you work together with other students is actually just as important as how good your pure academic grades are.
Okay, so that's the IB part. So let's move to the theory, even though we do not have a computer right now. Yeah, so how about we do a little bit Chinese part?
刚才呢，我们的Vivian 和穆迪先生谈论到了一个 IB 课程的这么一个问题。现在呢，我先给大家科普一下，这个 IB 课程呢是一个这个 IB 组织呢就是一个非营利性的一个教育基金会，它是在1968年成立于瑞士的日内瓦，在北京啊等全球11个城市都设有办事处。然后在截止到2015年为止呢，全球也会有147个国家，还有4370多所学校开设了这么一个课程。这个课程呢就是一个跨国家的这么一个教育体系。这个官方教学语言呢也是包含了英语、法语和西班牙语3种。正因为这个 IB 课程的一个就是它是一个高端的一个教学课程，所以呢，它目前在中国正式获得这个授权的学校只有90多所，所以也这么一个侧面的印证了这个 IST 国际学校的这么一个师资的一个高度性。对。然后现在呢，包括这个 IB 的教育哲学呢，也是 Education for Life。就是翻译过来呢，就是一个终生的一个教育，就是这个呢，教育会持续从你的3岁开始，持续到你的19岁为止。所以说，这个也是经历了你整个一个成长的这么一个过程。所以说，这个阶段也是非常重要的一个受教育阶段。接下来呢，我们来看一下网友的评论。我们发现有网友评论啊，说这个国际学校招收中国人嘛，然后这个我可以暂为回答一小下，就是这个肯定是招收中国人的，就像我们开篇提到的那位嘉宾呢，他就是一位中国人，也是我们穆里先生的一个学生。然后这个呢
hold on， 就是okay, so there's one question that can the Chinese students to join our school, to go to our school?
To go to my school?
Yeah. Chinese students.
Only if they have a foreign passport.
Okay. 就是中国学生只要是他有那个国际护照是吧？他就可以。对，但是普通的应该是，如果是中国公民的那样的话，他应该是不可以的。
好，还有我们那个还有网友问呢，就是咱们那个穆迪先生对咱们 IB 课程有什么教育心得呢
？IB 课程哈，so there's one question from the audience. They want to know something about this IB curriculum. That after so many years of IB curriculum, so what do you feel about this curriculum, or what is the aspect for the students of the school? Yeah.
Well, I think for an international audience, for an international clientele, and certainly within many national systems. In fact, for instance, in the United States, there are more IB schools now opening up all the time than there are even in international schools. So it's very popular in state schools as well. But really, it's extremely rigorous. It's very difficult. The examinations are amongst, if not the hardest in the world, believe it or not, even like the Gaokao, but in a slightly different style. So they're very, very rigorous. One of my daughters finished her IB diploma last year, and you can see firsthand how hard they have to work to go through it. So when children are little, in the primary schools and middle schools, in our schools, we don't give them lots of homework, we give them lots of play. Lots of time to play and explore and have interests. When they get to the last 2 years, that's when we put a lot of pressure on them to get ready for these examinations. So I think it's a nice balance between allowing children to develop the dispositions and the right attitudes and enjoy school. Our kids love school. They love coming to school.
At the beginning, right? They do not have pressure, right?
No.
Because from my impression of the, the international school, it's you don't need to study very hard. It's just a play, but it's not true, right? Maybe at the beginning, and you can play a lot, right? But at the end of a diploma part, right? It's going to be a lot of pressure.
Absolutely. The philosophy is that, little children are good learners, but they don't need their heads filled with so much stuff that they can't have time to experiment and explore. So our belief is let children be children. You're only a child for a very short period of your life. If you start school at 6 in Inyanji, right, you only have 5-6 years as a little child. And then it's middle high school and it starts to get more serious.
Okay.
So it's important to give them that chance. And it's important for parents to be able to enjoy their children when they're little, rather than force them to do homework all the time. So I wouldn't say our schools are easy, but we certainly believe that there has to be balance between, we say for adults as right, work-life balance.
Yeah.
You can't just work, or
No.
work, no play, makes you dull.
Yeah. OK， 我觉得这个问题我可以用中文回答一下啊，就是穆迪先生呢，他在提到这个，就是在做这个回复的时候，作为这个 IB 课程这么多年，他的最大的感受就是觉得是平衡性 balance，right？ 因为他觉得就是孩子来讲的话，他在低年级或者他在幼儿的时候，他更多的时候应该是去享受他的这个童年的时光，那当他在他最后那2年学习的，就是比如说像高考那种的话，那么他在 IB 课程里，他这种考试来讲，它的难易程度一点也不亚于高考，这是他刚才提到的。所以说呢，就是一个很好的 balance， 在小的时候能够快快乐乐的玩，那等长大了以后呢，到最后的阶段的话，那这种压力也是很大的，学习压力也是很大的。Okay, so what about the next? Do we have more?
在这个环节，我们还有一个最后一个小问题，就是咱们平时学校更注重于培养孩子的什么技能或者什么品质呢？
我觉得这个问题可能刚才也是已经问过了对，就是那个，对，就是我觉得他更注重培养的孩子的那种敢于创新的能力risk taken， 对那个 character， 我觉得对他会刚才已经提到了，还有吗？
没有了这个。
Okay, good. So let's move to the next part. And for the IB learner profile, and you talk about that the caring part, right?
Yes.
You want the kids to care about other people.
Yes.
And so for the charity event part, and I think maybe your school have done a lot of it, right? Do you remember how many times you have? Done it with a charity.
I couldn't remember exactly how many times. I think we wouldn't use the word charity probably, because charity simply implies that you give money to people often, right?
So that's just a part of it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's about service. Service is doing for others, helping people in certain ways, and it might be helping the environment or doing something like that. So within the IB, it's an international curriculum. So as an international curriculum, as an international school, we believe we have a responsibility not only to educate children for preparation for university, but for life and for making the world a better place. And so one of the expectations, of course, we help children learn about things like government, but they learn to have respect for other people, for the other people's ideas and ways of living, for the environment. And one of the ways in which you help develop respect is by teaching children that they have a duty.
They have duty.
They have a duty to the environment, to the world, and to other people to make the world better. And so we call that giving service. And we have a program which runs all the way through our school, where children are involved in service activities as part of the daily curriculum, the weekly curriculum. But the big difference, I suppose, with many IB schools, and certainly ours, is that most of our service activities come from the children. So the school doesn't normally have a particular project. We're going to do this thing for these people, right?
From
And
children.
From students. So,
Yeah,
for
right.
instance, in our middle schools, yes, we have something called action groups for grades 6 to 10 students. Maybe we have about 20 different action groups. These are vertical groups, so students from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mixed together, they choose the group that they are interested in. A particular, it might be an environmental thing like the green team, or it might be something to do with orphans, or it might be to do with providing some kind of other service to another group of people. But the students are the one who choose the topic. So every year we look at it again and say, okay, here's our 20. What ones do we want to change? Vivian, what's your passion? What do you want to change? And you say, Mr. Moody, I really would like to develop a service initiative at the Tianjin Museum to help Chinese people better understand Western perspectives on a particular part of history.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go down there with some other students and we want to volunteer our time as translators so we can help talk to them. And we might go, that's a really great idea, Vivian, let's make that one of our action groups this year. And then the students look at all the 10 or 20 selections and they choose the one that they're passionate about.
Oh.
So it's not me as the director saying, okay, this year we're going to give money to the Tianjin Zoo. Everybody bring 100 RMB and we'll give it to the zoo. And that's charity.
Okay.
That's different.
I think that's very clever. It's a very good idea because if we do that way, the kids can evolve more, right? Yeah.
Well, if it's the same thing when you learn. If it's your question, then you're more interested in finding the answer.
Sure.
And you will remember the answer.
Yeah.
If it's my question and I tell you the answer, you're less likely to remember it because it's not that interested. Similarly, when it comes to passions about anything, if you're passionate about a particular environmental issue or a global issue, a UN issue, something, whatever the case may be, and you get to pursue it, then you will put your full energy towards it and you will more likely to encourage others to come with you. And so that's our belief. So within the IB, we have a particular program, for instance, our middle years, when students get to grade 11 and 12 as part of the IB diploma, they have to, as part of their qualification, they can get perfect scores in all of their core subjects, perfect scores, but if they don't complete what we call CAS, which is it's where students have to be creative. They have to demonstrate that they have some kind of creative expression activities. They have to be active, have some kind of activity, and they have to give some kind of service to others. But it has to be independently initiated. So it's nothing to do with the school or anyone else. They do it on their own. And if you don't fulfill those requirements independently, you won't get your IB diploma, even though you may have the highest scores in the world.
Even though you have very good grades, right? It's not work, right? It's not.
It won't work if you don't get a grade for this one. You either pass or fail, right? You either get it or you don't. You fulfill it or you don't. But if you don't fulfill it, it doesn't matter about anything else. So all the students have to be very actively involved. But the fundamental thing is it's independent. There's no teachers telling them what to do or how to do it. They have to go out there and do it themselves and then demonstrate and prove to the school that this is what I did, here's how I planned it, here's why I did it, and it shows that they have had the personal initiative and drive to achieve that particular goal. If you can do it then, when you go on in life and you head on to university, you've already developed that right attitude that you can make a difference in the world and in your own life.
Okay. So how about let's watch a little video from Wendy and let's say, what is the feeling about services, right?
I feel like IST really it made me really want to help other people, especially because every time when something happens, we are always doing charity to help other people and to help support and do whatever we can, even though we're far away. And also another thing is that we are very encouraging with like reuse, reduce, recycle that all of us knows about, and I still remember to heart till today because it is something that it really, and now that it affects me personally, that it makes me really care about the environment and want to make more aware of how much energy we're using. And I remember at the time we were also explained as to how IST is trying to use renewable energy, and I know right now they're doing solar panels and everything, and it shapes you as to who you are today in a way.
Okay. So she's a grow-up girl, right?
Hmm?
Wendy.
Yes, she's
a
grown up a
grow-up
lot.
girl. Yeah. Okay. And you know, during the video and Steve just told me that you are still remember that the first time Wendy went to you, right?
Well, not so much. Yeah, I'm not sure I can remember the first time she came to me, but I can remember her very first week of school. She did a ballet dance for us at an assembly. She decided she wanted to do a little dance, and she jumped up and started doing ballet. It was very cute.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, what about your, you know, the deepest memory about the service things? So, which one, you know, impressed you a lot? For those, for so many years.
For so many different things. I mean, there are lots of things happen. Like at the moment, one of the service activities that our students, one of our action groups came to me last year. They said, Mr. Moody, our school isn't very eco-friendly. We're not a green school, and we would like to. Why don't we do something like install solar panels on the roof of the school so we can use the sun's energy and save energy? And so I said, okay, we can do that. And so this year, our whole school has been working on raising money, and we're putting solar panels on the roof of our school. And so students initiated and led that activity. It cost about 800,000 RMB.
That's a big project,
It's a big, so that's a great environmental project. There's many things. One of the most memorable ones, and this was initiated by students as well. We used to have a project, a kind of exchange with students in Guide in Qinghai. And there were very, very poor villages where the women still carried the water, had to walk 2 or 3 kilometers to get water each day and bring it back to the village. And our students couldn't believe this. And so when they came back to our school, they said, let's do something to help them. And so they raised money, and we built a water pipeline for them to transport water from this village.
So when?
That was about 10, 12 years ago now.
Oh.
And so we started a relationship with some schools down there, with our school in particular, a couple of schools in Qinghai, where we were bringing students backwards and forwards and helping them in different ways. But the first project was a water project.
Wow, I think I sort of you know, heard about that before because you know, my work partner Aimin and her son Qiqi is
Yes.
your student, right? And she mentioned to me that she thinks that that kind of service kind of changed the fate of the children in Qinghai,
Yes, it definitely can.
right?
It has done for several.
Wow.
And we're looking at doing it again maybe next year, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So for this 10 years, can be the same students, you know, same part of student do it, you know, again? I don't know.
Well, what we do at the beginning of each year, we'll have our students propose an idea for a major project for that year. And I know some students want to promote that we do something again for poor students in an area like Qinghai. Students who maybe are very bright and motivated to go to university. The government will support them going to university, but they don't have a lot of money to live on. So we may raise money. We've done this before. Previously, we've sponsored students over several years through university and paid for them to go to university to survive, you know, to live while they're at university.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a very rewarding thing for the students and for the school and the community.
All right.
Yes, not just the kids who do this. I mean, one of the things that we talk very much about our school is that, you know, we're a family. And so it's really the students, the local Chinese staff, the teachers, and the parents working together as a community. So all of these things actually involve everybody to some extent. The children are the students are at the center.
Yeah, it's a core,
all
right?
of the adults are there to work together as a team to help them achieve their goals.
Okay, so for the next years, may the children, I mean, may the students to go to Qinghai together with the staff of the school?
We don't have a plan to send children at this point in time to Qinghai again, although we might. I mean, every year, all of our secondary students, and actually in grade 4 and 5 as well, but they travel somewhere in China to different locations, or you know, in Mongolia or somewhere like that. Last year we had a trip to Nepal, and that was a service trip about for women who were the victims of sex trafficking. And our students went to work with a charity in Nepal But mostly they're different places around China. They go for a week, and it's an outdoor excursion to learn about Chinese language and culture and environment. But often we try and find a service component to those trips. So they find, and so when we went to Qinghai, it was really just an exploration, and they discovered this problem.
Yeah.
At this point in time, we don't have a plan to go back to Qinghai next year, but we are looking at the possibility.
Okay.
And that might mean, because what we also did was we brought their students to Tianjin, and they spent maybe 3 or 4 days at our school having an internet. These are very, very poor Tibetan students.
I know.
Brought them to our school for a week to have an experience.
To stay with the students, maybe?
And local families.
Local family, yeah.
And then, because our students stayed with their families.
Okay.
An eye-opening experience for our children to stay with these very poor Tibetan families in Qinghai. Culturally Tibetans, Chinese, of course. They came to Tianjin, and then we took them to Beijing for a couple of days, where they visited Beijing, and then we paid to send them home again. Also, we brought their teachers up from the school to spend time at our school, so they could observe our teachers and get some ideas about some of our teaching practices. So certainly we're thinking about doing something like that again.
Okay. Yeah.
But every year it's different, and we make the decision at the beginning of the year. So at this point in time, many of the things will continue, but there will always be some new ones.
Okay, so different years, different things, right? Okay, so how about Suri? Do we have some questions from the audience?
刚才穆迪校长呢也给我们讲述了一些他们 IST 学校帮助他人以及做的一些慈善活动。然后对于此呢，我们网友也有很多问题。现在想问一下穆迪校长，就是咱们就是在这个青海以外，还考虑去做哪一些类似的公益活动吗？就以后有什么计划吗？
They want to know, beside the Qinghai, what other, plans for this kind of service things? Yeah, other plans. We talk about it.
Well, they change all the time, and so there are things that come up all the time. Some of our primary school students, like grade 5 students this year, they collected household items for poor people living in shelters in Tianjin. So they gathered up things like soap and shampoo and toothpaste and toothbrushes. They got the community to donate them, and then they delivered them to those people. When there was the Sichuan earthquake, maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago now, I'm not sure exactly when it is, our students were very concerned about what had happened to some of the schools, and so they raised money, and we bought a lot of library books, and we took them to Maoxian in Qinghai. We transported them and gave them to a school as a gift. So those kind of things happen all the time, little projects that students are involved in here or there.
Okay.
Another project, one of the kids, someone was complaining to me earlier this year about the fact that we have so much plastic in our cafeteria. And so because of what these students said to me, next year from August, the new school year, we will be using biodegradable cups and plates and knives and forks, so wooden knives and forks.
Wood.
Plastic, and it looks like plastic, but actually it breaks down. It's environmentally friendly. So we've told our catering company we don't want any more plastic, and we will pay a higher price to use an environmentally friendly product. And that's as a result of students coming to me and saying, this isn't right.
Okay. 那个穆迪先生在这块说呢，就是说，如果说他的一些计划，其实这个每个计划并不是说从他来提出来的，而是说就是学生他来，就是每个学生他提出来。比如他会讲到，比如说有的5年级的孩子，他们可能会给很穷的家庭，他们会去收集一些必须的生活用品，然后呢会把这些用品收集起来以后。然后再捐献给他们，那或者是做在四川当时地震，就是咱们汶川地震的时候呢，那我们 ST 的孩子呢也是特别关心那边的小朋友们情况，然后他们会买了很多的这个就是书，对吧 ？Library books 就是图书馆的一些书啊，然后他们会去捐献给他们。那么还有呢？刚才还有提到的，就是说，IST 的学生们呢，他们可能在环保方面 recycling things right， 他们会非常注意这环保。比如说之前他可能就提到了，有个学生提到，哎，那个为什么我们不用那个叫什么，就是在屋顶上那个太阳能，对，所以说他们可能就是做一个太阳能的一个改进。然后呢，比如说他们用到的这个盘子呀、叉子呀各方面，他们可能都会改成一个木质的或怎样的，就不再用塑料的了啊。So it's 对，所以说还是 很多很多，但别管是什么样的，都是学生提出来的。
这也说明咱们 IST 国际学校这个学生对于慈善的参与度也是非常高的。还有一个问题就是有我们网友想知道，就是对于在中国上学的孩子来说，就是什么时间段把他们送去国外学习更为合适呢
？I think this is a very very good question. It's when do you think is the proper time to let the kids to go abroad to study?
University.
Yeah, using university. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not uncommon in China for many Chinese families to want to send their children to a British or in the United States or the UK when they're maybe 14 years old. Now, I had a daughter leave home last year at 18. She finished high school to go to university.
Okay.
That was the hardest thing to do.
Okay.
To say goodbye.
Yeah. I think it's the time is up, but 对，时间已经到了。但是我觉得穆迪先生把它表达得非常清楚，他觉得是上大学的时候应该是最好的出国学习的时间。Okay, so that's the today. So Vivian speaking. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.